Leading the singing of the national anthem, Don Cherry, the famed singing golfer, or the famed golfing singer. At any rate, this crowd is in a frenzy. And here come the Steelers out on the field. Kicking off will be Roy Girella, the great little nomad who has settled down here in Pittsburgh and currently is leading everybody in scoring. Girella, during this campaign, has kicked 21 of 31 field goal tries, 29 of 30 points after, 92 points on the season. He'll be kicking off from right to left. Ken Brown and Billy LaFleur will be deep for the Cleveland Browns. Billy LaFleur, a rookie from Henderson in Arkansas, 5'11", 197. And Ken Brown, a three-year man with no college background. We'll have Brown to the left, LaFleur to the right. Girella drops back 7 yards and gets ready to come at the ball from an angle. A little soccer-style kicker from New Mexico State. Here he comes, and he kicks it. Long, high, to Brown, deep in the end zone. He'll take it for the touchback. Well, as they say, it's just like an old broken drum. You can't beat it. That's the way to start the game.
Well, that's a heck of a good way to start it, all right. Girella really moved it 5-6 yards deep in the end zone. And now it's up to the Steelers defense to get this club off to a good start. And I think the defense is the key in today's game, no question.
Here the Browns out of the huddle. They line up in the I formation. They put Leroy Kelly at the top of the I with Frank Pitts flanking right. Split left is Fair Hooker. Handoff goes to Kelly, running right, cutting at the 20. He is brought down at the 22-yard line. Hit by cornerback Johnny Rouser as he crossed the 20. His momentum carried him possibly to the 22-yard line. He'll pick up a scant 2 yards. It will be 2nd down, 8 for the Cleveland Browns.
And that was just a great play by Rouser because guard Gene Hickerson pulled out of the line and laid a block right on him, and he weathered that block, came up underneath Hickerson to make the tackle. Nice play, Rouser.
23 yards in from the near side of the field. The team from Cleveland lining up with Mike Phipps at quarterback. Now they put a man in the slot. That's Bo Scott on the right side. Single running back is Kelly. And Phipps will use the long count much today, as they did in Cleveland. He fakes to Kelly, goes back to throw into the left flat, complete to Hooker. Hooker is missed behind the 20, comes up over the 25, and is out of bounds at the 30-yard line. He was missed behind the line of scrimmage by Ben McGee, who had a shot at him, could not get him. Mel Blount was in there, and the tackle finally made up at the 30-yard line by Andy Russell, who knocked him out of bounds, and they will spot it at the 31. Cleveland will have the first down.
Well, Mel Blount could have thrown Hooker for a sizable loss, but he was just a little over-anxious on the play, too charged up, and he overran him.
Now they operate 23 yards in from the far side of the field. The I formation. Kelly shifts out of the I to the right side. Again, we have Phipps to the right, Hooker to the left, and Phipps the quarterback. The Steelers throw up a 5-man defensive front, and Cleveland with a long count. Handoff goes to Bo Scott, driving off the left side. Makes it to the 35-yard line, and is met by a gang of Steelers. Anchoring that play, Mike Wagner, the safety man from Western Illinois, along with Mel Blount, the 3-year cornerback from Southern U. And the ball has its nose just over the 35-yard line. A 4-yard gain on the play. It will be 2nd down, 6. The Browns are in white uniforms with the brown numerals, the orange helmet with no decals. 2nd down, 6 yards to go. Steelers bunch a lot of people up front. Virtually 7 men pull right up against the Brownies with an umbrella secondary. And here is Phipps handing off to Bo Scott, running to the left. He's caught, he fumbles the football, and the Steelers have it. He was hit from behind, fumbled the football forward, and Andy Russell recovered it. Brought it over the 35 down to the 33. Henry Davis hit him from behind as he ran to the left. He fumbled it forward. Andy Russell picked it up on a bounce at the 36 and brought it down to the 34, and the Steelers are in business at the Browns' 34-yard line.
The Steelers had the middle linebacker blitz on. Henry Davis blitzing, caused the fumble, and bounced to Russell on one hop.
First down, 10 yards to go. Terry Bradshaw quarterbacks the Steelers offense at the Browns' 34. It is 1st and 10. Here is his handoff to Johnny Fuqua. Finds the hole through the middle, cuts to the right, goes to the 30, drives to the 25. He's all the way down to the Browns' 24-yard line. Charlie Hall, the left side linebacker, and Jerry Shirk, the defensive right tackle, made the stop. He is near a first down. The play carried almost 10 yards. They will take the sticks in. Nick Roman, Walter Johnson, Jerry Shirk, and Bob Briggs in the front four for Cleveland. Charlie Hall, Dale Lindsey, and Billy Andrews are the linebackers. Clarence Scott, Ben Davis, the cornerback. Tom Darden and Walt Sumner are the safeties. We missed the first down by less than a yard on a fine carry by Fuqua. A beautiful hole opened up for him on a slant to the right side across the middle, and he carried it down to the 24-yard line.
And it was a real zigzagger. He faked Tom Darden, a rookie defensive back, off his seat. Frenchy giving him the old hip.
It will be second down and about a foot to go. The Steelers at the Cleveland 24-yard line. The opening moments of this afternoon's ball game here at Three Rivers Stadium. We're just underway. There is no score. Steelers come out of the huddle, sending Ron Shanklin to the right as a flanker, splitting Frank Lewis to the near side. The running backs are Harris and Fuqua. The quarterback is Bradshaw. They look at a six-man defensive front set up by the Cleveland Browns. On second down, less than a yard to go. Quarterback speak. Bradshaw takes it straight through to the 20-yard line, and the Steelers have a first down. Walter Johnson and Jerry Shirk holding on for dear life. But they could not stop Terry Bradshaw, who picked up 4 yards in the first down, the first one of the afternoon for the Steelers. And they have it at the Cleveland 20.
And we have what you could call in there a new Steeler offensive line owing to those necessary changes, but they're moving the Cleveland line, at least on those first two plays.
The interior line with John Cole, Jerry Mullins playing in place of Sam Davis, Ray Mansfield, Bruce Van Dyke, Gordon Gravel is in at right tackle, John McMakin the tight end. And now Mansfield is out and Clack is on at center. First down, 10 yards to go at the Cleveland 20. Cleveland in a five-man front. And the handoff given to Franco Harris, running to the left. He's trapped at the 25-yard line, and they will nail Harris for a loss. Franco did not get the protection he needed to get started. Jerry Shirk and Bob Briggs closed in on him, nailing him at the 25-yard line, a 5-yard loss. So Franco starts off on a -5 this afternoon. He'll get that back very quickly to second down and 15.
And Jerry Mullins, playing at guard today, of course, was leading the way, pulled out of the line, but Jerry was outnumbered. He was one blocker against 3 tacklers.
So the crowd is chanting go. And the Steelers have a second and 15 at the Cleveland 25. Again, Shanklin to the far side, Lewis to the near side, and the running backs are set wide. And we have a 4-3 defense with a linebacker pulled up on the right to hand off to Fuqua, trying to get outside to the right. Foot goes down at the 25-yard line for no gain. Made his cut, and then was covered by Charlie Hall as he slipped and went down at the 25-yard line, running to the right. So there is no gain on the play, and once again, it is 15 yards to go, this time on third down. The initial third down situation of the afternoon for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the ball at the Cleveland 25. Each team with a record of 8 wins, 3 losses. Each team going for the AFC Central Division title. Each team gunning for a playoff berth. Each team hoping to get to the Super Bowl. Again, Cleveland in the 4-3 with one linebacker drifting off to the left side. And the Steelers set with a running back pulled up close on the right side. Here's Cleveland jumping offside. What will the ruling be? Cleveland jumps offside. Tommy Bell calls Cleveland offside. That will be 5 yards. And that will move the ball down to the Cleveland 20-yard line, and the Steelers will face third down and 10 yards to go. Jerry Shirk, the 6'5", 258-pounder from Oklahoma State, was the man who hopped over for the first penalty of the ball game.
Yes, Shirk hopped over and made contact, so that was that, and it's a bit of a break for the Steelers. Third down and 10 now at the 20-yard line.
Terry Bradshaw brings his club out of the huddle. Again, the Browns are in a 4-3, and one linebacker is drifting in and out. And back goes Bradshaw to throw. The rush is on. He slips. He's caught. And he's thrown. And hitting him was Jerry Shirk. The Cleveland defense is gunned up for this one this afternoon. A fine play on Bradshaw, who had no protection that time as they swarmed over him. He slipped at one point, lost his footing. The ball is marked down at the 29-yard line. Bradshaw sacked for the first time this afternoon. Jarrella is on. He'll be kicking from the 36-yard line. This is his 32nd attempt of the year. He has made 21. Bobby Walden will be the holder, almost straight away from the 36-yard line. Cleveland digs in. Here's the snap. Jarrella kicks. It's long enough. It's good. Girella from 36 yards out hits the field goal for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with time out on the field, the score is Pittsburgh 3, Cleveland nothing. Ken Brown to the right, and Frank Pitts is a new deep receiver set up to the left. Girella now has 95 points on the season with that three-pointer from 36 yards out. It came with 9:53 to play in the first quarter. Pitts to the left, Brown to the right, and Girella will be kicking off from right to left. Here comes Roy Girella. He kicks it, and again he gets off a good one. Deep in the end zone. Brown all the way to the end line. Goes off the field. And again, Cleveland will put the ball in play from its own 20-yard line. First down, 10.
Well, Girella went into this ball game with only a 3-point lead over Bobby Housefield in the kicking race. So unless Housefield has gotten off to an early start today, Girella now leads by 6, and he's just kicking those kickoffs beautifully, booming them deep.
First drive started after the fumble at the Cleveland 34, advanced to the 20, wound up at the 29. Thus came the 36-yard field goal. Now the Browns shifting out of the I formation, sending Bo Scott to the left, Leroy Kelly to the right. The Steelers with a 5-man front, and Mike Phipps is the quarterback out of Purdue in his third year. And the handoff goes to Kelly. Kelly is nailed by Andy Russell. Kelly will get maybe a yard out of the play at very little distance to go. They will give him a yard and a half. And it will be second down and a long 8.
And that's the kind of play the Browns were using to great effect in Cleveland 2 weeks ago, but Russell wasn't in the lineup. He's in there today, and he made himself felt.
Cleveland out of the huddle. Their hooker goes wide to the far side to the left of the quarterback. Frank Pitts comes to the near side. They're in the eye. And a nice fake there as Pitts goes back to throw to Kelly in the right flat. Beyond the 20-yard line. He gets to the 25 and he's nailed. Jack Ham and Mel Blunt brought him down. On the snap, a fake by both of the men from the eye as Pitts faded. Kelly drifting out to about the 20-yard line, pulled in the pass, advancing the ball to the 25, and Cleveland now comes up against a third down play for the first time this afternoon. Pitts has thrown 2 passes, and he has completed both of them. Glenn Edwards is in, replacing Henry Davis as the 5th back for the Steelers. 3rd and 5 for the Cleveland Browns at their own 25. Cleveland moving on offense from left to right here in the first quarter. Mike Pitts goes deep to throw. Fires to the near side. The pass completed to the 31-yard line. Pulled in by Leroy Kelly, who was hit from behind by Glenn Edwards and upended. But he has enough yardage for the first down. As that moves it to the 31-yard line, a gain of some 6 yards. And it will be 1st and 10 for the Cleveland Browns.
And Kelly was wide open there, and Edwards was relying solely on giving him such a hard tackle that he jarred the ball loose, and seldom he did, but Kelly held on to the football. Phipps is now 3 for 3.
Henry Davis back in the middle linebacker. First down, 10 yards to go for the Browns at their own 31-yard line. They line up in the I formation. Kelly dots the I. And Phipps pitches to Kelly, running to his left with a blocker at the 30, at the 32. He is bowed down. He had a pulling guard, John DeMary, running in front of him, but he could not hold off the Steelers. Ernie Holmes and Mel Blunt were there to make the stop. And Kelly running with a pitch out. Carries it to the 32. He'll get about a yard on the play. It will be second down, 9 yards to go.
And Blunt did a very nice job of cutting off the outside, forcing Kelly to turn in, and he turned right into Andy Russell and Ernie Holmes, and down he went. The Steelers defense is fired up.
It's a 3-0 ball game in favor of the Steelers with 7:12 to play in the first quarter at Three Rivers out of the I formation. Here is Phipps ready to throw. They almost had him. Now he's running with the football, and he makes it to the 35-yard line. Joe Green in a great rush made a dive at Mike Phipps, and Phipps did a little dance step, got away from him, evaded him, and then ran forward and brought the football out to the 36-yard line. A gain of 4 yards. It is going to be 3rd and 5 for the Cleveland Browns.
Somebody better cool off Ray Dodez, the head linesman. He's really fired up. He leaped over Dwight White and landed on his face getting to the ball.
Glenn Edwards back in as the 5th back. Henry Davis is out. And the Browns come out, sending Fairhooker wide to the left and putting Pitts in a wide slot in the same direction. The running backs are set wide. The quarterback is Mike Phipps. Pittsburgh bunch of 6 men up front. Phipps waiting for the snap. He'll use that long count much of the time this afternoon. Here's Phipps sneaking with the ball forward over the 40 and to the 41 and on to the 42, and I believe he has the first down. Nice maneuver by Phipps as he took the snap, dropped back a step, and then ran straight forward. They had the hole for him. Jack Ham and Andy Russell stopped him. The ball is at the Cleveland 42. Phipps has picked up a first down, number 2 of the afternoon for the Browns.
Smart play by Phipps and well executed. The Steelers obviously weren't looking for it after Phipps took that one step backward.
J.D. Fogarty points out that he apparently read the blitz the Steelers were contemplating and made the most of it. Took advantage of the hole and came through to pick up the first down. First and 10, Cleveland. Browns at their own 42. Mike Phipps calling the signals. Hand off, goes to Bo Scott, running to the right, turns the corner, comes to the 45 and out to the 47-yard line. Nailed by Henry Davis. Helped out on the play by Johnny Rouser. And Cleveland has advanced the ball over the 45-yard line. Browns pick up a good solid 5 yards on that run. And the ball is spotted at the 47, where it will be 2nd and 5. Chip Glass is into the ball game at tight end, replacing Milt Morin. Glass is in his 4th year in the league out of Florida State. 6'4", 235 pounds. Good size. And the Browns line up with their split end to the right, their flanker set out to the left, and they shift out of the eye. Kelly coming to the right side. 2nd down, 5 yards to go at the Cleveland 47. The quarterback is Mike Phipps. And Phipps hands off to Kelly, cross-bucking through the middle, drives to the 50, and on to the Pittsburgh 49-yard line. L.C. Greenwood down at the bottom of that stop with Joe Green. Chuck Noll said that we have to cut off the Cleveland running game this afternoon, and apparently that is the game plan. Cleveland to establish a strong running game, then mixing in the passing of Phipps. They go to their second tight end. Milt Morin is in, replacing Frank Phipps. It will be 3rd down and 1 yard to go. Their third down play of the afternoon. They have converted one already. 3rd and 1. The ball just over the 50 in Steeler territory. And the Steelers dig in. The ends are both tight. Morin and Glass. The flanker, Hooker, is in close on the right side. The running backs are Kelly and Scott. Phipps the quarterback. 3rd down 1. Phipps gives to Scott off the left side. He'll get it as he dives down to the 46-yard line, standing outside left tackle, twisting out of the arms of Mel Blount, and diving to the 46. Cleveland has its 4th first down of the afternoon.
Well, you're right, Jack. There's no question but what their game plan is to move that ball on the ground. They've only thrown 3 times, and in all 3 of those passes have been little short, dinky passes. So they're going to do it the hard way. And so far, they're showing that they've got the capability. They're moving that football.
They're 23 yards in from the far side of the field at the Pittsburgh 46-yard line. First down 10 with 3:20 to play in the first quarter, and the Steelers leading 3-0. Phipps fakes, goes deep with toe, looks out to the far side. There's his man. He fires a pass in and out of the arms of Fair Hooker at the Pittsburgh 21-yard line. Hooker went down the sideline. The pass was on the mark. He could not hold it. Double coverage over there from Mel Blount and Ralph Anderson. It's an incomplete pass.
And I sort of think that had Hooker held the ball, he would have been out of bounds anyhow, judging from the official gestures. But in any case, as you said, the pass was there. He dropped it.
It will be 2nd down 10 with Cleveland at the Pittsburgh 46-yard line. Nick Skorich pacing up and down in front of the Cleveland bench area. Down below, Chuck Noll watches intently as his defensive unit sets up to meet the thrust by the Cleveland Browns. They shift out of the eye. Their running backs are wide. Mike Phipps taking his time, looking at a 6-man front for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers may have been offside. The flag's dropped. There is action down there. The play is blown dead, and let's see what the call will be. Steelers jumped over. So we'll see what the official says. Indication is against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tommy Bell starts at the 46, walks off 5 yards down to the 41. Cleveland will have a 2nd and 5 at the Pittsburgh 41. So he has used that long count to advantage that time, pulling the Steelers offside. It will be 2nd and 5 at the 41-yard line, and the Browns have fine field position. Kelly has run 4 times today for 9 yards. Bo Scott 4 times for 10 yards. Kelly and Scott are the running backs. Hooker to the left, Phipps to the right in the wide receiver position. And Phipps again on the long count, and the Steelers have 7 men bunched up front. The handoff is given to Bo Scott, drives off right tackle across the 40 and down to the 37. He may have made it to the 36-yard line with a big pile up there. Ernie Holmes at the bottom of the play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That ball will be extremely close to a first down. L.C. Greenwood comes out of the pile up. it would appear that they will miss it by about a foot. So again, they bring in their second tight end, Chip Glass, replacing Frank Pitts. And again, they face the third down play. Fourth time this afternoon, they have made good on 2 out of 3. And Cleveland sets up just outside of the Pittsburgh 36. And Pitts on a sneak. He'll barely get it. Strong opposition through the middle. But he fights his way across the 35, almost to the 34, and the Browns have a first down. The entire center of the Pittsburgh defense hanging on for dear life, but not enough to stop Pitts from getting the necessary yardage. First down 10 now with the ball at the Pittsburgh 34-yard line. And back in comes Frank Pitts replacing Chip Glass. Steeler defensive unit setting up in the 4-man front. Now pulling Russell up on the right side. Their backers are in very tight. Ham coming up to give head-to-head coverage to Fair Hooker. And Mike Pitts is calling the signal. First and 10 at Pittsburgh 34. Pitts takes beautifully. Pitts, no, he doesn't throw. Running to the right, and he is cornered. He breaks loose, comes over the 30, and out of bounds at the 27. Now what will the ruling be? The play was blown dead back at the 33 where he appeared to be stopped. L.C. Greenwood made the tackle. Pitts that time hesitating at least 2 or 3 times on whether to pass or run. And finally running, getting caught, the whistle blew the ball dead, and that's when he shook loose. At the 33-yard line, it will be 2nd and 8.
And DeMary arguing with the linesman that Pitts was not down and that he should be given considerably more yardage since he did get up and keep going, but they only gave him a yard on the play.
At the Pittsburgh 33, second down, about 8 yards to go. Pitts handoff, going to Bo Scott, hitting into the middle, across the 30. He'll make it to the 29-yard line. Straight ahead dive play through the middle. Green down under the play. Ernie Holmes down under the play. Dwight White in there, and the ball is just inside the 30-yard line.
For tackle, the Steelers are fired up, but they're not making that first tackle fit.
Henry Davis out, Glenn Edwards in, the 5th defensive back. Mike Pitts brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Pitts goes back to throw. Pitts looking. Pitts being chased now. Pitts running out of the pocket, throwing down the near side to nobody. There was nobody near the pass except Bob DeMarco and Bob McKay, both ineligible receivers, and they allow him to ground the ball that way with a great rush by Joe Green, Dwight White, and L.C. Greenwood. Pitts under pressure, threw it away, and the officials allowed him to do that. And now on 4th down, we will see Don Cockroft, the fellow who kicked the one that beat us at Cleveland. He has 77 points on the season, has hit 18 of 21 field goals. Mike Pitts will be the holder, and Cockroft will try to tie up this ball game. He'll be kicking from the 37-yard line. With Pitts the holder, 37 yards out, and the Steelers poised for the rush. The ball is down. Pitts holding, Cockroft kicking. It is off to the right. Cockroft was thinking. Cockroft was thinking, and he blew it. He had the length. It went to the right. And that's the end of the first quarter with a score. Pittsburgh 3, Cleveland nothing. Back at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, we'll take 10 seconds for station identification on the Pittsburgh Steelers Football Network. The Browns ate up 9 minutes and 53 seconds on that drive. I couldn't believe the quarter was over, but it is over, and we're leading 3-0.
Well, Gorillas have struck again. Today, for the first time this year, they hung signs in both ends of the field to get it Don Cockroft. They had one down there that said, "Hey, Cockroft thinks he sunk, he threw a 37-yarder.
First down 10, Pittsburgh, now moving left to right in the second quarter. Steelers at their own 20-yard line. Handoff carried off the left side by Franco Harris. He goes almost for 5 yards. Bob Briggs and Billy Andrews holding on for dear life. Spotting the ball all the way back at the 23-yard line. He was under a big pileup, so Franco has picked up 3 of the 5 yards that he lost earlier when he was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. He's back up to -2. He It is second down 7 for the Steelers. They operate 23 yards in from the far side of the field. Roman, Johnson, Shirk, and Briggs in the front four for the Cleveland Browns, and they pull a backer up tight on the right side, and two other ones plugging the gaps inside the tackle. Here is Bradshaw throwing into the left flat to Harris, and Harris is nailed. Back behind the 20 at the 18-yard line. Billy Andrews, the right side linebacker, was there to grab Franco Harris at the 18-yard line. So a loss of 4 yards on the pass play. And that is the first pass of the afternoon for Terry Bradshaw. It will be third down and 12. Pittsburgh's second third down play of the afternoon. Sending Frank Lewis to the left. Ron Shanklin to the right. Bradshaw back to throw. Almost slips again. Now he runs forward with the football. He's over the 20, the 25. He's to the 30. And he has a first down at the 31-yard line. They set the ball back to the 30, and he still has a first down. The second one of the afternoon. Terry Bradshaw went deep. Lost his footing. Saw no one to throw to. Saw the hole, ran straight up the middle to the 30, first down 10.
Really didn't have protection that time. The Browns were firing in on him, and he had no place to go but straight up the middle. It wasn't a dodge for the sideline. He turned it on, and he popped, and he got the first down.
Nick Roman made the stop. Al Young is in, replacing Frank Lewis as a wide receiver. Shanklin right, Young left. Running back Fuqua and Harris. Terry Bradshaw sets his club against the 4-3, and the handoff going to Fuqua. Crossbuck through the middle, makes it to the 32. Meeting stiff resistance in that Cleveland front four. And the linebackers, Dale Lindsey and Charlie Hall, plugging the gap, made the stop. 2-yard gain on the play, second down, 8 yards to go. Frank Lewis back in the ball game. Al Young is out for the Steelers. Pittsburgh leading 3-0. We're just into the second quarter of the ball game. Steelers break the huddle. Sending Lewis out to the left, Shanklin in a wide slot position, and also splitting the tight end to the right. So they've got 3 receivers spread out there, shifting their running backs to the right side. And Bradshaw gives the handoff to Franco Harris, coming to the right, cuts back, and he makes it to the 35-yard line. Dale Lindsey and Charlie Hall again close in on him. A Cleveland player is shaken up. That will be Nick Roman. Getting up very slowly. He's limping back to the huddle, and they may have to replace him. Roman is limping, and Rich Jackson is ready to come on the field. Roman limps off, and Jackson, a 4-year veteran from Southern U, is on to replace him. So Franco picks up 3 yards on that carry, and it is third down and 5 at the 35. Bradshaw brings them out of the huddle. At the 35-yard line, Bradshaw drops back to throw. Cocks his arm, fires. It is incomplete. Trying to hit the tight end, John McMakin. Sumner and Darden covering the play. Ron Shanklin may have been the intended receiver, and he was open along the sideline. The pass came in short in the direction of McMakin. And now Bobby Walden is on in punt formation. Tom Darden and Bobby Majors are deep to receive. Darden to the left, Majors to the right. And Walden standing at his own 20-yard line. The wind does not appear to be a factor as we look at the flag off to our right. It is limp. High snap from center. Walden gets the kick away, and it is taken at the 32-yard line by Bobby Majors. Gets up over the 35 to the 37. Walden very lucky to get it away. A low trajectory kick pulled in at the 32-yard line. Returned to the 37-yard line. And the tackle executed by Al Young and Ed Bradley on the return by Bobby Majors. And Cleveland will have field position at its own 37. A motion penalty, an illegal motion penalty against the Steelers, declined by the Cleveland Browns. They want the ball right where they have it. First down 10. We have a timeout down on the field. And with time out of the ball game, the score is Pittsburgh 3, Cleveland 0. Cleveland Browns at their own 37 with 11:21 to play in the second quarter. Pittsburgh leading 3-0. First down 10 to the Browns. Mike Fitz, the quarterback, is running back for Leroy Kelly and Bo Scott. Cleveland moving right to left here in the second quarter. Fitz on the long count takes. fakes to Kelly, flips into the right flat area to Bo Scott, and he's jailed by Jack Ham back at the 32-yard line. Pass into the right flat area, taken by Bo Scott. Ham was there to get him at the 32-yard line. A loss of 5 yards on the play.
And this is the sort of thing Phipps has been doing throughout the early portion of this game, throwing to the sidelines a lot, throwing those flat passes, and Ham had it perfectly diagnosed.
Glenn Edwards becomes the 5th defensive back, replacing middle linebacker Henry Davis on 2nd and 15. Cleveland at its own 32. Pittsburgh in a 5-man front. And the rush is on. Phipps is deep to throw, and he throws deep. And there's his receiver out there, Frank Phipps, broken up at the last moment beautifully down at the Pittsburgh 24-yard line by Johnny Rouser. Frank Phipps was downfield, and Rouser was running with him, matching him step for step. And Rouser reached up and broke up the pass at the last moment. It is incomplete.
And I think we might say we're just a little bit lucky there, because Phipps was 2 steps behind Rouser, maybe 3. Rouser running with his back to the throw, happened to just reach up at the perfect moment.
3rd down, 15 yards to go. The 6th third down play of the afternoon for Cleveland. The Browns have already converted 3 of them. Here they come out of the huddle at their own 32-yard line. Steelers line 5 men up in the front line. And here's Phipps being chased from an offensive pass. He's nailed by Dwight White back inside the 20-yard line. Phipps going back to pass, and a great rush on him. Dwight White nailed him just inside the 20-yard line. The big 255-pounder from East Texas State took a beat on him, like with a shotgun, and nailed him. And Phipps is sacked deep. And Cleveland is now 4th and 29. And Don Cockcroft will punt. Glenn Edwards deep for the Steelers. Cockcroft standing at his own 5-yard line in punt formation. Steelers have 10 men up, and they rush 9 of them. And here's Cockcroft's punt, very, very high. Edwards wants the fair catch. He pulls it in at his own 43-yard line. In spite of the fact that the Browns had Billy Andrews coming in right on top of him. He held on to it beautifully at the 43-yard line, and the Steelers will put it in play at that point. With time out on the field, the score is Pittsburgh 3, Cleveland nothing. First down, 10 yards to go. The Steelers at their own 43-yard line. Good field position. Pittsburgh leading 3-0. 10:16 to play in the second quarter. Bradshaw brings them out of the huddle, sending Frank Lewis to the left, Ron Shanklin to the right. Here's Bradshaw faking to Franco, going deep and throwing. There's the open man, McMakin at the 44, over the 40, the 35, and down to the 30. Tom Darden brings him down. Bradshaw executed a perfect fake. Spotted the open man, McMakin, at the Cleveland 44. Called in the pass. Carried it over the 40, over the 35, on down to the 30-yard line. Beautiful gain on the pass play to the tight end, John McMakin, a 27-yard pickup, first down, Pittsburgh. And the crowd comes alive, no question about it. Bradshaw has them at the 30, lined up. First and 10. Terry, full pivot, handoff to Fuqua, fighting his way through the middle of the line to the 25 and down to the 23, where Charlie Hall brings him down, helped out by Walter Johnson. Fuqua running like mad. On a slight crossbuck to the right side through the middle of the line. He's down to the 23. It will be 2nd and 3.
And for the second play in a row, Bradshaw starts the play by faking to Franco. So if the Browns are keying on Franco, Bradshaw is making the most of it by sending Franco as the decoy.
In the second quarter, an important game, the Jets and New Orleans are tied 3-3. 2nd and 3 for the Steelers. At the 23 in Cleveland territory, Bradshaw hands off to Franco, fights his way over the left side, over the 20, down to the 19-yard line. Franco Harris powering his way through. Tom Darden and Bob Briggs finally bring him down at the 19. It's a first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their 4th of the afternoon, and they are down at the Cleveland 19-yard line.
Both teams have the same idea. They're going to use the pass sparingly. They're going to try to crunch it across on the ground.
Overcast skies at Three Rivers Stadium, a sellout crowd watching this ball game. Pittsburgh leading 3-0. And the Steelers have a 1st and 10 at the Browns 19. Bradshaw to Fuqua, running to the right, cuts the corner, goes inside the 15 to the 13-yard line, and runs into Charlie Hall. And down comes Frenchie. Dale Lindsay over to cover on the play. The advance is to the 13-yard line, and that is a gain of 6 yards. It will be 2nd down, 4 yards to go. Pittsburgh penetrating again into Cleveland territory.
Nice pulling block by Bruce Van Dyke and a good block by Franco Harris. Harris and Frenchie blocked well for one another.
Fuqua now with 24 yards on the afternoon. Harris has 5 yards thus far. And Bradshaw steps under center. The running backs are wide. Bradshaw calling the signals for Pittsburgh. 2nd down and 4. Hand off to Fuqua. Crossbuck almost to the 10-yard line. Carrying big guys with him like Charlie Hall and Dale Lindsay and Walter Johnson. And they will spot the ball back at the 11, where it is going to be 3rd down and 2 yards to go. Pittsburgh's 4th 3rd down situation of the afternoon. Larry Brown is into the ball game as the 2nd tight end. At the 11-yard line, 3rd down and 2 yards to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jim Clack goes over the football. Al Young is a flanker on the left side. And Bradshaw steps in. Big play at the Cleveland 11. 3rd down, 2. Bradshaw, hand off to Franco, off the right side, down to the 5, inside the 5 to the 3-yard line, where Dale Lindsay brings him down. Franco Harris galloping to the right, off tackle, cutting back, going down over the 5, and he makes it down to the Cleveland 3-yard line. In fact, he's almost to the 2-yard line, where they spot the football. 1st down and goal to go.
And we spoke before about how Frenchie and Franco blocked for one another, and that time Frenchie put a good block on cornerback Tom Gordon, a rookie, and that was what paved the way for Franco.
They're using Franco as a fine decoy this afternoon for the running of Johnny Fuqua, and then giving that ball to Harris at critical time. It is 1st and goal at the Cleveland 2-yard line. Bradshaw calling the signals for Pittsburgh. Hand off to Fuqua. Drives off the left side. He's short of the goal line. He should be within a yard of pay dirt. And a host of Cleveland Browns are there to meet him. Big pile-up. And as they uncover, down at the bottom of the play is Bob Briggs. And the ball is at the 1-yard line. It will be 2nd down, 1. John McMakin is out and Larry Brown is in at tight end. They're lining up with Jerry Mullins at the other tight end. 2nd and 1 at the 1. Hand off to Harris. Hits off the right side. He's in for the touchdown. Franco Harris driving off the right side. Crosses the goal line. Hit Dale Lindsay, who knocked him back out to the 1. But he crossed over for the touchdown. And Harris is apparently injured on the play. Harris is shaken up on the play. Or rather, Fuqua had that one wrong. It was Fuqua, the ball carrier, and he was shaken up on the play. The interesting thing was he crossed the goal line, and Lindsay met him right there, and then dealt him a severe blow, knocking him back out to the 1-yard line. But the touchdown has been scored. So let me make that clear. John Fuqua, the ball carrier. Girella kicks the point after, so I called it right the first time. It was Franco Harris, and Fuqua was hurt on the play. But time out on the field, the score is Pittsburgh 10, Cleveland nothing. Steelers score with 5:25 to go in the 2nd quarter. So to alleviate confusion in a much confused booth, as I called it first, this touchdown was scored by Franco Harris. The injured player was Frenchie Fuqua. It's a 10-0 ball game. That's what's important. Girella kicking off right to left. Pitts and Brown are deep, very high. And down it comes to Brown at the 1. He's to the 5, to the 10, cuts left. At the 15 is hit and goes down to the 17-yard line. Glenn Edwards, the first man to him. As he returns from the 1 out to the 17, 1st down 10 Cleveland. This quarter of Pittsburgh Steelers football is being brought to you by Iron City Beer. Iron City, the taste makes it Pittsburgh's #1 beer. And Myron, the Iron City people have a sign too.
Yeah, they want the Steelers to pour it on. That's the beer slogan, a good beer slogan. So pour it on, but don't pour the beer on them. Pour the touchdowns on them.
First down, 10, Cleveland Browns at their own 17-yard line. Shifting out of the I formation. Kelly to the left, Bo Scott to the right. Quarterback is Mike Phipps. Phipps faking, going back to throw, looking out to the right, firing. There's the open man, tipped downfield. It's broken up at the last moment at the 50-yard line. On a spectacular play by Mike Wagner, coming laterally, because Phipps had apparently beaten the cornerback down the field, was beyond Johnny Rouser. And coming across was Wagner from his safety position to break up the pass. It's incomplete. We have 2nd and 10 back at the 17.
And Phipps did actually get his fingers on it despite that coverage. He still managed to get his fingers on it, but just couldn't hold the football.
2nd down, 10 yards to go. Steelers hold with Greenwood, Green, Ernie Holmes, and White in the front four. Ham, Davis, and Russell are the linebackers. And Cleveland with the setback slide. Phipps faking, rolling right, looking. Phipps throwing in and out of the arms of a receiver at the 28-yard line. Diving for that one was Bo Scott, who had come out of the backfield. Pass was thrown low, and Scott diving for it could not hold it. An incomplete pass. Phipps has thrown 10 times, completed 4 of them today. And now the Browns come up against a very large 3rd down play. Henry Davis out, Glenn Edwards in as the 5th back for the Steelers. Cleveland has made good on 3 of 6 3rd down plays this afternoon. This is 3rd and 10 from the Browns 17. Pittsburgh leading 10-0 with 4:36 to play in the 2nd quarter. They put a running back in the slot to the left, and back goes Phipps to throw. Phipps firing out to the right side beyond the reach of Milt Morin, who came down and over to the sideline. And the pass was thrown wide out of his reach, with Rouser and Edwards going across the cover for Pittsburgh. And now Cleveland will give up the football. Cockcroft will punt. And this crowd standing and applauding the Pittsburgh defensive unit. 2nd quarter, Cincinnati leading the New York Giants 6-0. 2nd quarter, the Jets in New Orleans are still 3-3. And you've got to keep an eye on the Jets. They figure as a potential playoff berth contestant. You can put it that way. Edwards was deep. Cockcroft standing at his own 2-yard line. As we do it for you, the kick will carry from right to left. Here's the snap of the football, a bit high. He gets it away, and it's another boomer. Downfield to Edwards, coming to his right to field it at the 40, giving ground behind the 40. He's trapped. Now he runs forward, and he will be nailed. A flag is going down, and Edwards is caught at the 38-yard line. The tackle made by Billy LaFleur. Edwards took it at the 40, gave ground, thought he could get away to the left, and ran into a host of white jersey Browns over in that direction on a 42-yard punt. We have a personal foul clipping called against the Steelers. Tommy Bell signals a clipping call, and it is going to be marked off on the 35-yard line, and that will take Pittsburgh back to its own 20. First big penalty of the afternoon. So the ball is at the 20-yard line, where it is first down, 10 yards to go. Now we have timeout on the field with the score. Pittsburgh 10, Cleveland nothing. Jack Fleming with Myron Cope and Tom Bender at Three Rivers Stadium. Preston Pearson has replaced Frenchie Fuqua as the running back for the Steelers, and at halftime we'll hope to have the word on Fuqua, but right now he is on the sideline and prancing up and down, so apparently he's okay. But Press will run for him right now, and the first appearance in a running spot for Pearson since he was injured. Handoff goes to Franco Harris straight ahead over the left side to the 27. Walter Johnson and Billy Andrews, and it was all they could do to bring him down after a 7-yard pickup. What ball game was it in which Pearson was injured, Myron? Do you recall how far back that's been?
It's been about 5 weeks ago at least. And on that last play, you may have noticed Franco was looking to the outside for that open room to pull off the big gainer, but he couldn't quite find it.
All right, they line up with Pearson to the left and Harris to the right. 2nd down, 3 yards to go. Jim Clack is the center. Full pivot by Bradshaw, handoff to Harris, or rather to Pearson on a dive, straight through the middle. And they're going to rule that he hit the ground at the 28, tripped up by Walter Johnson. So a short gain, it will be 3rd and 2. Steelers bring Mel Holmes on the field. Al Young is in replacing Frank Lewis. And that means that Jerry Mullins will go to a tight end post opposite John McMakin on the third and short yardage play. Al Young lines up close on the right side. And our running backs are Pearson and Harris. Hand off to Preston, hitting off the right side and fighting his way over the 30 for the first down. Bob Briggs and Walt Sumner on the stop, aided by Dale Lindsay. Now that is the most important play for Pittsburgh. If we don't, maybe we don't make it. The way they've spotted the football down now would appear that maybe we miss it by inches. Steeler football continues after this brief message. Well, they measured and we had it by about an inch. First down 10. And as I say, if we hadn't had it, we'd have to give up the football to the Browns. Bradshaw taking, going deep, looking and firing downfield. He's got a man open, but he overthrows Frank Lewis. Lewis racing downfield at the Cleveland 30. Well out beyond Ben Davis. And the pass was overthrown and out of bounds. Incomplete.
Walter Johnson, the big tackle, had torn across the line and seemed to have Bradshaw sacked, but Bradshaw stepped aside at the last instant and was able to get off a pass of over 40 yards. Let's pause now for station identification on the Steelers Football Network.
Pittsburgh's a great place to be in the morning. Listening to Larry O'Brien, 6 to 10 a.m. daily on WTAE, WTAE FM, Pittsburgh.
Steelers ready to go. Al Young in place of Frank Lewis. Draw handoff goes to Harris, cuts off the left side across the 30 and fights his way to the 34-yard line. Charlie Hall makes the tackle for the Cleveland Browns. And that will bring up 3rd and 6 for Pittsburgh. 6th time this afternoon we've had the third down play. We've converted 2 of them. And now there is timeout on the field with the score Pittsburgh 10, Cleveland nothing. We have 2 minutes to go in the second quarter with the Steelers leading 10 to nothing. It is a 3rd and 6 play now at the 34-yard line. Ball is actually right on the 34, and we got to go maybe a foot past the 40 in order to get a first down. Frank Lewis to the left, Ron Shanklin to the right. Bradshaw throws the ball toward Pearson out in front of him as the great rush was on, and it is incomplete. Nick Roman had the rush on Bradshaw, and Bradshaw got rid of the football by throwing it into Preston Pearson to get rid of it. And they talk as they come off the field, and Terry shaking his head saying that is all I could do to get rid of that football without losing ground. So now punt formation. Tom Darden and Leroy Kelly are deep. Darden to the left and Kelly to the right. Bobby Walden will stand at his own 19-yard line. And the clock shows a minute 57 to play in the second quarter. Snap to Walden. And Walden gets a punt away that is carrying well downfield, taking Kelly back to the 19. Kelly skipping around, comes forward and is nailed at the 23-yard line. Kelly had to retreat to pull that ball in, and he was nailed at the 23-yard line by Al Young as he came forward. The second quarter of Pittsburgh Steeler football is being brought to you by Iron City Beer. Iron City, the taste makes it Pittsburgh's #1 beer. Browns are set at their own 23, and Phipps will throw. He goes deep, looks down the middle, and in and out of the arms of Fair Hooker at the 43-yard line. Had Hooker open in between Russell and Blunt, and it went in and out of his arms, incomplete.
Yes, Phipps had excellent protection all day to throw there. He put the ball right in Hooker's mitt, but Hooker couldn't hold the football. And obviously the Browns are not going to be content now to keep the ball on the ground. They're out to make some fast yardage and get a score in with 1:37 left on the clock.
Second down, 10 yards to go. Pittsburgh with a 5-man defensive front. Slot right wide for Cleveland. Mike Phipps on the long count. Phipps takes. Hands off to Bo Scott, and he steps into the line and is tripped up at the 25. We'll get a couple of yards out of the play with Ben McGee making the tackle. The 9-year veteran from Jackson State was there to nail him, bringing up third down and 8 yards to go.
White helped out on a play, reaching across and grabbing the ball carrier's jersey, and White is having a real fine game for the Steelers. He's really fired up for this one.
Glenn Edwards replaces Henry Davis as a fifth back for the Steelers. They send Pitts wide right. Inside, Fair Hooker is in the slot out in that direction. And Pitts goes back to throw again. They come after him. He ducks, runs to his left, comes to the 20, the 25, to the 30, and is out of bounds on the near side of the field at the 35-yard line. So Pitts had to improvise that time under a great rush for the Steelers, and he did so well, getting the first down for the Cleveland Browns. Their fourth first down of the afternoon. L.C. Greenwood and Johnny Rouser finally chased him out of bounds. 53 seconds on the clock. And the Browns, with a bit of alert play by Mike Phipps, have moved to their own 35.
You know, that Phipps can really move with that football. He's a pretty fast runner. You don't think of him as being an outstanding runner, but he can go with it.
Phipps is 6 feet 3 inches tall, 208 pounds. And he can use that size very well, and as you say, he has the speed. He'll go. Here is Phipps, handing off to Bo Scott, breaks the tackle behind the line of scrimmage, runs to the right, tucks forward, and makes it to the 38-yard line. Andy Russell and Ralph Anderson closed in on him as he broke the tackle behind the line of scrimmage, ran to the right, and brought it out. They will give him the 39-yard line. Now with timeout on the field, Steelers football continues after this brief timeout. First quarter score, New Orleans 3, the New York Jets 3. In the second quarter, Cincinnati 6, the Giants nothing. In the first quarter, Philadelphia 7, the Redskins 3. First quarter, Atlanta 10, Houston nothing. Second quarter, Miami 6, the New England Patriots nothing. 45 seconds to go in the second quarter. Cleveland, second down and a long 5. And back goes Phipps. Joe Green is after him, misses him. Phipps still running to the right. Phipps breaks the tackle, comes over the 35 to the 40, still running, and makes it to the 43 and calls timeout. Mike Phipps being chased all over the lot, finally nailed by Andy Russell up at the 43-yard line. And Joe Green almost had him for a good solid loss, but he got away, running to his right toward the far side of the field. It will be third down and 3 yards to go for the Cleveland Browns with 34 seconds remaining in the period.
And after he got away from Green, he also got away from Greenwood, but there's one thing you can say that's nice about that play is he used up considerable time, and of course, with 34 seconds left on the clock, time is mighty important. The Browns only have one timeout remaining.
Henry Davis comes back in, replacing Glenn Edwards. With a third and long 2 situation. And the Browns with one timeout remaining, Myron said. Next Sunday afternoon, we're in Houston at the Astrodome, and we'll have play-by-play coverage of the Steelers and the Houston Oilers. The 13th game of the regular season. The front four hold steady: Greenwood, Green, McGee, and White. Cam, Davis, and Russell, the linebackers. Rouser and Blunt, the cornerback. Anderson and Wagner are the safeties. Phipps lines them up. 34 seconds to go. Third, a long 2. Here is Phipps, giving the football to Bo Scott, running out to the right, tripping, keeping his footing. Driven out of bounds by Jack Ham on the far side at the 44-yard line. Scott that time appeared to have running room, but just as he started to turn the corner, he lost his footing momentarily, regained it, was tracked down by Ham, and knocked out of bounds at the 44-yard line. So Cockcroft is on to punt. 29 seconds remaining in the period. And I think the Steelers may just let him kick away. They're sending no one back. They will guard against the possibility of a cross-up and allow Cockcroft to kick it as far as he wants. Here's the snap. Cockcroft gets it away. Very high spiraling kick. Bouncing at the 6. Browns come down. They're around the football. Rolls inside the 5 and back to the 5, and it's dead at the 5-yard line. So with 16 seconds on the clock, Steelers will take over at their own 5. And Pittsburgh that time was protecting against the cross-up. With time running out in the period, they were not concerned about how far the punt would carry. They wanted to guard against the possibility of Cleveland going for the long play or possibly going for enough to pick up the first down. Now the clock starts to turn and time is going to run out as the Steelers line up. Time runs out in the second quarter. At the end of the first half, the score, Pittsburgh 10, Cleveland nothing.
Halftime at Three Rivers Stadium, the Steelers leading the Cleveland Browns in the biggest game of the year, 10-0. We've just finished eating a hoagie sandwich given to us by Franco's Italian Army, and that's certainly hit the spot, and now the two ball teams are out on the field. So, Jack Fleming, it's all yours.
Okay, Myron, the Steelers will receive at the start of the third quarter. Preston Pearson and Steve Davis will be the deep men. Up in advance of them, a stalwart crew of blockers. Men like Rocky Blyer, Gordon Gravel, Mel Holmes, Ernie Holmes, all four of them up there. Cockroft kicking off right to left. Here he comes, and the kick, a good one. Coming down at the goal line, 1 yard deep in the end zone, fumbled by Davis. Picked up, he's over the 5, he's to the 10. He comes to the 13-yard line, and he is stowed under. First man to get to him was Charlie Hall. So we'll have it at the 13-yard line, and we'll take 10 seconds for station identification on the Steelers Football Network.
Pittsburgh's a great town for sports like Tom Bender Sports. New time, 6 to 7 p.m. each weekday evening on WTAE, WTAE FM, Pittsburgh.
They set the ball down at the 13.5-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. Start of the third quarter, the Steelers leading 10-0. Terry Bradshaw, the quarterback. Bradshaw, straight ahead drive by Franco Harris on the handoff, and he's out to the 16. Frenchie Fuqua is in there to start this third quarter, and the Frenchman looks to be okay. Very cool indeed. Dale Lindsey and Bob Briggs make the stop. 3-yard gain, second down, 7. And weather-wise, Myron, this is a beautiful afternoon.
Well, neither one of us are having to wear top coats at all today. It's just a nice, warm day out here.
Here are the Steelers on second down, 7. At the 16-yard line. We have Lewis to the left and Shanklin to the right. Bradshaw faking the short shot and fires to Shanklin at the 30. Complete. He comes down at the 33, tackled by Clarence Scott. Bradshaw cocked his arm as though to throw short over the line of scrimmage, and that gave Shanklin time to come down and veer in sharply, taking it at the 30, moving it to the 33. Bradshaw's 6th pass of the afternoon, only his 3rd completion, and Pittsburgh's 8th first down, and it comes at the 33-yard line.
If Shanklin gets one more step on Clarence Scott that time, he is gone, because Scott was the deep coverage, but he put a good tackle on him.
23 yards in from the near side of the field. Sending Frank Lewis out in the far direction. Shanklin flanking to the near side. The tight end split out about 3 yards. And Bradshaw goes deep to throw again. He fires complete to Shanklin at the 38-yard line. Charlie Hall made the stop as Shanklin came down and squared in along the 38-yard line, taking the pass. And a gain of 5 yards. It will be 2nd and 5.
And a little bit of a surprising development. Bradshaw now starting to go to the air, and he's now 4 for 7.
Got a heavy rush that time from Rich Jackson and Bob Briggs. Jackson now out, and Nick Roman is in. 3-year veteran from Ohio State who was shaken up early. Got a 4-man front. And the handoff goes to Harris. He had a hole. Came through over the 40. It closed on him at the 42 when he ran into Dale Lindsey and Jerry Shirt. Well, that was a nice one, but it closed up very quickly. And Franco makes it to the 42-yard line, where it is going to be 3rd down now, and about a yard to go.
I think those Cleveland linebackers have played very well today. They're playing a strong ball game, cutting off the outside, stopping the runs up the middle with good, strong tackles, as in that last instance.
Shanklin out, Al Young in, Mel Holmes is in, and Jerry Mullins moves to a tight end post. 3rd and 1. Bradshaw calling the signals. Hands off to Franco, trying to get outside to the left. He makes it. He's over the 45 to the 50, and he goes into Cleveland territory. Down at the 49-yard line, hit by Billy Andrews. Franco Harris gets more than enough for the first down as Pittsburgh converts its third down play of the afternoon.
I can't say that Frenchie sprung Franco that time with a great block, but he busied linebacker Bill Andrews to death. Just kept him so busy that Franco was able to turn the corner.
First down 10, Cleveland 49-yard line. Steelers leading 10-0. Early minutes of the third quarter. Bradshaw brings them up to the line of scrimmage. He'll drop back to pass. Bradshaw fires the ball. There goes Shanklin running forward. It's just out of his reach. Racing down and in on the post pattern. At the 5-yard line, he could not reach it. Clarence Scott and Tom Darden in pursuit. The pass just slightly overthrown, and that would have been the bomb.
Yes, the ball traveling more than 50 yards on the play. Shanklin was behind Scott and Darden, but it was such a long pass, you just had to throw it and hope.
Al Young replaces Ron Shanklin now. He'll get a breather after that long trot downfield. Second down, 10 yards to go. Ball back at the Cleveland 49-yard line. Bradshaw steps under center. Bradshaw takes quick pitch to the right side. Ball carried by Fuqua. Nailed it to 50 and thrown all the way back to his own 47-yard line. Dale Lindsay and Clarence Scott had that one pegged. On the pitch out to the right side to Frenchie. And they will give him the 50-yard line for a 1-yard loss. Making it third down and 11. Third and 11 at the 50. And again the Steelers have the third down play coming up. Ron Shanklin back in replacing Al Young. Nick Roman, Walter Johnson, Jerry Shirk, Bob Briggs in the front four for the Browns, Charlie Hall, Dale Lindsay, and Billy Andrews, the linebackers. Pittsburgh at the line of scrimmage. Third and 11. Bradshaw backpedals again. Fires in and out of the arms of Fuqua at the 41-yard line. He was hit by Dale Lindsay, and coming over, making a stab at the ball was Billy Andrews as it flew up out of Frenchie's arms and trickled down to the turf. An incomplete pass. Bradshaw with 9 tosses, 4 of them completed on the afternoon, and Bobby Walden is on the punt. I believe this is only his second punt of the day. Make it his third punt of the day. Deep, Tom Darden and Leroy Kelly. A couple of speedsters. Snap to Walden, and his punt is away. Wobbly one, but it's effective because Kelly has to call for the fair catch at the 9-yard line. They're apparently going to spot it at the 10. So Bobby Walden punted that beautifully. Down to the 10-yard line. A 40-yard punt. No return on it at the Cleveland 10. Now we have a timeout called on the field with the score Pittsburgh 10, Cleveland nothing. First down 10 Cleveland. Browns at their own 10-yard line. Moving right to left here in the third quarter. Trailing 10-0 behind the Steelers. Mike Phipps on the long count. Phipps giving the handoff to Bo Scott. Getting off the right side and out to the 15 and on to the 16-yard line. Hit by Jack Ham and covered by Johnny Rouser on the play. So Cleveland picks up 6 valuable yards. Coming out of a deep hole at the Browns' 10-yard line. It will be second down, 4 yards to go. The clock turning with 9:43 to play in this third period. Pittsburgh leading 10-0. Phipps lines them up again, shifting Kelly to the right side. Phipps this time on a full pivot, handing off to Kelly, and Kelly is nailed. He may lean forward for a yard, but he was hit by Ben McGee as he got to the line of scrimmage. A little different version of that play than we've seen before this afternoon as he did the full pivot, giving the handoff to Kelly. Henry Davis out, Glenn Edwards in. And we have 5 defensive backs in the ball game. Another big third down play. Third and 4 for the Browns. Phipps sending Hooker to the left. Pitch to the right. Back goes Mike Phipps all the way to the 5-yard line. Fires, intercepted upfield with the bat, football. Jack Ham to the 20, the 15. He's down to the 10. He leaps, and he goes out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Jack Ham intercepting for the Steelers. That is his 6th interception of the season. And he Kelly brings it all the way down. Knocked out of bounds by Chip Glass at the 6-yard line.
Jack Ham taking the ball at the 25-yard line. Jack Deacon stopped him from making it all the way to the end zone. That's the first interception the Steelers have had today, and it keeps alive their record of having intercepted at least one pass in every ball game played this season.
First down goal to go at the Cleveland 6-yard line, following the interception by Jack Ham. Bradshaw is sending Al Young wide left. Lines them up in a power formation. Here's Bradshaw keeping, running to the left. Inside the 5, he's clobbered along the 4-yard line as he lost the football. There is a fumble, and the Browns have it. Bradshaw rolling out to the left, keeping. Inside the 5, was clobbered at the 4-yard line. And on a fumble, the ball is lost. And there's a crowd of people. Bradshaw may be hurt. Nope, he's up on his feet. We still can't see what's happening inside that mob of players. There is one Brown down at the 6-yard line. The Browns have recovered the fumble by Terry Bradshaw. And they will take over at their 7. There would appear to be a flag down. There was a flag down. So Tommy Bell, the referee, bringing the ball in. Walt Sumner was shaken up. He's being helped off the field. Bell puts the ball down at the 7. We had a personal foul against the Steelers, a clipping foul declined by the Cleveland Browns. So they decline the clipping penalty, and they get the football. That's the first fumble we've lost today. We'd had one earlier. So the Browns have it back again at their own 7-yard line. And Bradshaw was running beautifully on a rollout. And they really clobbered him at the 4-yard line.
You know, it appeared to me that had Bradshaw started just a little more quickly, he would have had clear sailing on the keeper into the left corner of the end zone, but he seemed to hesitate just a little, and then the tacklers were able to move up. He tried to hurdle one, and that's when they clobbered him and knocked the ball loose.
That Pittsburgh defense is in there again at the Browns 7. They're in the I formation with Kelly at the top of the I, and a handoff to Leroy Kelly running to the left with a blocker out in front of him over the 5 to the 10. Breaks the tackle, comes to the 15, and is rolled to the turf at the 18-yard line. He broke away from Mel Blount. Ernie Holmes made the stop, and John DeMary was blocking for Leroy Kelly. DeMary, a pulling guard, 6'3", 246 pounds. And the ball will be spotted at the 20 for a first down. The 7th of the afternoon for the Browns, and they're out of the hole again. First down, 10. Halftime, Cincinnati 6, the Giants 3. Halftime, New Orleans 10, the New York Jets 6. All right, the handoff to Kelly. Kelly fights his way off right tackle. He stopped just short of the 25-yard line. In a pileup of players, he probably will spot that one at the 24, and they do, as he ran into a crowd of Steelers with Ernie Holmes at the bottom of the play. Gain of about 4 yards for Leroy Kelly. Cleveland turning to its running game, a powerful running game, to get out of the hole. They line up, sending Frank Pitts to the right, Fair Hooker to the left, and they're in the I formation. Both Scott inside, Kelly at the top of the I. Back goes Phipps, short throw out to the near side, a leaping catch. Diving catch at the 30-yard line. Fair Hooker comes down with the ball at the sideline at the 30, covered by Mel Blount. But in order to catch that one, as he came down and over, he had to dive back to pull it in. And it's enough for a first down, and the Browns have advanced to the 30-yard line.
So now the Browns have 8 first downs, the Steelers have 9, and Phipps I have done for 5 for 12 in the passing game.
They're out of the huddle. Lined up in the I formation. Cleveland Browns at their own 30-yard line. Hand off to Kelly. Kelly slithers through the left side of the line to the 35 and drives to the 40. And Kelly has become a tough man to stop. Out to the 40-yard line. And tempers flare. Big Bob McKay of the Cleveland Browns. A few words with L.C. Greenwood and Ralph Anderson.
Yeah, he weighs 260, and he wants to fight 6 Anderson. He'll only outweigh him by 90 pounds.
First down for the Browns at the 40. This time they started at the 7, and they have been striking quickly and have moved the football to the 40-yard line, where it is first down 10 in the I formation. A fake by Phipps. He goes deep to throw. He gets it away to Kelly in the right flat. He's over the 40, and he is caught and brought down at the 44-yard line. Kelly out to the right in the flat area, pulled it in. Jack Ham nailed him, along with L.C. Greenwood, helped out by Johnny Rouser. And the ball will be spotted at the 44-yard line. So a gain of about 3 yards. It will be second down and 7. L.C. Greenwood shaken up on that play, and he's trying to get off the field, and he's limping badly. That could possibly be that ankle again. The official calls time while Greenwood can limp off the field. Ben McGee replaces L.C. Greenwood. Craig Hanneman had been shaken up earlier in the ball game. So we have McGee in there with Green, Holmes, and Dwight White in the front four. And Dr. John Best comes over to take a look at L.C. Greenwood. Second down, 6. Browns at their own 44-yard line. The man in the slot on the left side, a single setback. And Phipps on the long count. Gives it to Kelly, the running back. Drives into the middle, loses the football. And the Steelers have it. Kelly hit into the middle of the line. Lost the football. And coming up with it was Andy Russell. As Cleveland coughs up its second fumble of the afternoon. Now we have timeout on the field, and the score is Pittsburgh 10, Cleveland nothing. Steelers have recovered at the Cleveland 45. Andy Russell was on the fumble. Somebody did a job on Kelly as he ran into the pack. Walt Sumner is back in. He had been shaken up earlier. He and Darden are the safeties. Steelers out of the huddle at the Cleveland 45. Terry Bradshaw lines them up. Bradshaw calling signals, looking at a 5-man front. Hands off to Fuqua, driving off the left side to get about 3 yards as he advanced over the 45 and then ran into trouble. Dale Lindsey, the veteran middle linebacker, and Bob Briggs, a very big defensive right end, there to make the play, and they give him only the 43-yard line. So it is a gain of 2 yards, second down 8.
That fumble awfully propitious for reasons that we'll explain just as soon as the first opportunity presents itself.
I wish you'd tell me what propitious means. That would help. Here we go now. Bradshaw on second 8. Stops short, looks right, lobs it into the right flat area. And Franco has it. He's over the 40, breaks the tackle at 35, the 30. He's running to the left. He's trying to break another tackle at the 25, and he's brought down at the 23-yard line. Billy Andrews made the stop, but not until Franco Harris had left bodies strewn behind him, taking the flat pass and advancing downfield, cutting to his left and running to the Cleveland 23-yard line. And Franco's Italian army is standing and serenading with an Italian lullaby, a 20-yard pass and run. 10th first down of the afternoon for the Steelers. Bradshaw has them at the line of scrimmage. He's completed 5 out of 10 passes. Bradshaw, full pivot, hands off to Harris, trying to get outside, cuts inside to the 20, to the far side of the field to the 15, and he's pushed out of bounds. On the far side of the field, Walt Sumner covering. I think Bob Briggs had a hand on him, pushing him out of bounds, and Bruce Van Dyke pulling that time to block for him. And Franco running under a full head of steam. They spot the ball at the 15-yard line. He picks up 7 yards. Make that 8 yards. Second down and 2. 50,350 here this afternoon. And they want the Steelers to go. Second down and a long 2 at the Cleveland 15. And Bradshaw steps under center. Bradshaw, full pivot, hand off to Fuqua, cross-bucking through the middle. And he's down near the 12-yard line and near to a first down. Jerry Shirt executing the tackle for the Browns. It is a first down. First and 10 for the Steelers at the Cleveland 12.
They're slugging it out, and we've seen the Franco we know and love on that long run of his. He banged over the linebacker, Charlie Hall, and then he banged over Tom Darden. This is the Franco that the country's been hearing about.
12 carries for Franco for 48 yards. Fuqua 10 carries for 31. It is 1st and 10 at the 12. And Bradshaw sets his club. Bradshaw giving to Fuqua. Fuqua trying to get outside of the right. He can't make it. He may have a yard on them. Charlie Hall found him and brought him down at the 11-yard line. So Fuqua on an inside handoff, trying to get over the right side of the line, was stopped. A 1-yard gain. It will be 2nd down, 9 yards to go. The Steelers at the Cleveland 11-yard line, and Pittsburgh leading 10-0.
And, of course, when the ball goes back to the Browns, we're going to be anxious to see if Greenwood's going to come back in there, because there's still plenty of time, more than a quarter to play.
All right, it is 2nd down, 9 yards to go at the 11-yard line. 3:19 to play in the 3rd quarter. Bradshaw calling the signals for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here is Terry. Draw handoff to Franco. Big hole over the left side. He drives over the 5. He's in the end zone for a touchdown. Franco Harris found the big hole. Drove right straight through it. Knocked the man out of his way at the 5. Billy Andrews could not contain him. Harris goes 11 yards for the touchdown. His 9th touchdown of the season.
And he just plain flat Tom Garden, that rookie again, that rookie cornerback at the 2-yard line. Just stretched him and found his way into the end zone. Franco can really put on that power.
Franco has set a new record for touchdowns in a season by a Steeler with that 9th one. Walden holding. Roy Girella to kick for the point. His kick is up. It is good. We have 3:07 to go in the 3rd quarter. And with time out on the field, the score is Pittsburgh 17, the Browns nothing.
D. Wiley Lowe at Monroeville Chrysler Plymouth. He'll come through for you.
Ken Brown and Billy Lapeer are deep for Cleveland. Girella will be kicking off from left to right. 3:07 to play in the 3rd quarter. Pittsburgh 17, Cleveland nothing. And Girella has it teed up. Franco Harris has scored 2 touchdowns this afternoon, 9 on the season. Here is Girella kicking. And he's got pretty good distance. Brown lets it go as it comes through. And may have touched the crossbar. I think it did. So the ball is dead, and Cleveland will put it in play at its own 20-yard line. 1st down, 10 yards to go. And let me remind you, next Sunday afternoon at the Astrodome, we'll have complete play-by-play coverage of the Steelers and the Houston Oilers. Franco Harris with a net 60 yards running on the afternoon thus far. And that last drive was 45 yards in 7 plays for the Steelers. Harris scoring. 1st down, 10 Cleveland. The Browns at their own 20. Mike Phipps handling the ball club. Full pivot. Handoff to Kelly, and he's stopped. He'll get about a yard. Kelly splashing into the middle of the line. Ran into stiff opposition with Joe Green at the bottom of the play. And Leroy got maybe a yard. They're putting the ball down. Let's give him 2 yards. 2nd down, 8.
And Craig Hanneman has come off the injury shelf to replace Greenwood. And that's some relief at any rate.
And Greenwood is down on the bench talking with Bob Miley of the training corps. Here goes Phipps back to throw, looking, firing downfield. And the open man is Bill Morin to pull it in along the 45. And he runs into a gang tackling situation. Now they go to Morin. I think they've only thrown for him once this afternoon. They overthrew him. A tough receiver. And Andy Russell and Mike Wagner and Mel Blunt are all there to bring him down. But they've moved the ball to the 45-yard line, and Steelers football continues after this brief timeout. They put it back in play quickly, and Phipps rolls out to the right. And rolling out there, he was looking. He could find nobody, so he took off with the ball, and he ran into a snowstorm. Jack Ham was right there with Joe Green and with Craig Hanneman, and also with Dwight White. And they just snowed him under as he got to the 48-yard line. So he picks up about 2.5 yards. We'll call it 2nd down, 7. Morin has had that one reception today, that 24-yarder, and that's all. 1:07 to go in the 3rd quarter. The clock is turning. Pittsburgh leading 17-0. They put a man in the slot on the right side, and Phipps goes back. Phipps looking. Phipps running. He's nailed. Boy, is he nailed at the 42-yard line. Andy Russell creamed him. Phipps stepped forward, and Russell hit him smack in the middle. And he comes down at the 43-yard line. So the loss back to the 43 will bring up a third down play for Cleveland as Phipps is sacked. And they play the Anvil Chorus. It will be third down and 13.
And I don't think it was really a blitz on that play. Call it a delayed blitz. They had him encircled. Phipps was encircled, and Russell saw the opportunity to smack him, so he came roaring up the middle.
Then Edwards replaces Henry Davis as the fifth back for the Steelers on this third down play, third and long yardage. Clock turning, 37 seconds to go in the period. Phipps is 7 for 15 thus far with one interception. He goes back deep. He fires to the far side of the field, in and out of the arms of both Scott. Scott had it in his arms, and he could hear the footsteps. He could hear Jack Ham and Johnny Rouser closing in. And Scott could not hold on to it. He had the iron collar around his neck.
When you said it was footsteps, you could just see it. That's exactly what it was. Ham and Rouser were pounding up there, and he just hit much. Feels like holding that football there. We're not questioning Scott's courage, but he heard footsteps.
Don Cockcroft is on the punt, standing at his own 28. Glenn Edwards downfield. Cockcroft has it and gets it away like a bullet. Down to Edwards at his 18, comes over the 20, and he is nailed at the 22-yard line. Edwards didn't have far to go as he met Fred Hoagland, former University of Pittsburgh performer. Bill Andrews was there. And the ball is spotted at the 23 where he fell. First down 10 for the Steelers at their own 23 with time running out in this third quarter. And the Steelers on top 17-zip. Steelers in the huddle. They'll let the clock run out in the period. And there's the gun sounding the end of the third quarter with the score Pittsburgh 17, Cleveland nothing.
That Franco Harris right now has 60 yards, and of course everybody's hoping that Franco can pull it off and make his sixth straight 100-yard game, which would tie a choice record held by Jim Brown.
Steelers out of the huddle at their own 23-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. Bradshaw looks at a six-man front and gives his hand off to Frenchie Fuqua coming to the outside, and he is driven out of bounds along the 22. Walt Sumner made the stop. There appeared to be an intricate maneuver in the backfield that time. The backs crossing, as I saw it. I don't know. Fuqua came off the left side with the ball, and he's driven out at the 22, and we will lose a yard on the play. Checking that Cleveland front four, Roman, Johnson, Shirk, and Briggs. Paul, Lindsay, and Andrews, the linebackers. Scott and Davis on the corners. Darden and Sumner are the safeties. We have Lewis to the left and Shanklin to the right. And Terry will throw. Pulled in beautifully. John McPagan at the 40, over the 50, the Cleveland 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. He's going all the way. Pittsburgh frees it in. John McPagan pulled it in at his own 40-yard line. Galloping 60 yards for the touchdown. The play covers 78 yards downfield. And you can tip them back to Cleveland.
Yes, so it was a linebacker on the tight end situation. Dale Lindsay on McPagan. McPagan got two steps behind him, made a nifty catch, a reaching catch, and then turned on a lot of speed, outran that linebacker, just stretched open the distance between him, and with Franklin running rear guard blocking for him, went all the way, 78 yards.
His first touchdown, the NFL rookie's first touchdown. Boy, did he gallop. What a catch it was. The ball is down. Jarrella kicks it. It's up there. The Gorillas are screaming with timeout on the field. The score, Pittsburgh 24, Cleveland nothing. This keeps on. They'll be ready in Cleveland for the biggest slum renovation that they've ever had in the United States. They'll tear down the public square.
Well, you know, to borrow a phrase from Bob Prince, how sweet it is. 24-0, and I think you ought to be able to hold the lead if I go down to the dressing room with 5 minutes left today, do you think?
No, don't leave yet.
I'm not.
Don't leave. Okay, they have a couple of men deep. Brown and LaFleur. Jarrella kicks it very high. LaFleur a yard deep in the end zone. Out over the 10, the 15, the 20. He's horse-collared at the 22. Right around the neck. He is hit by Preston Pearson. Wow, did he hit him. He hit him around the neck and knocked him down at the 22-yard line. Oh, it is sweet.
Like getting a horseshoe stuck on your throat, huh?
Right. It is 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. Cleveland Browns out of the huddle with Bob DeMarco, 12-year veteran, going over the football. They set Bo Scott up in a slot on the right side, just inside of Morin. Now watch out for their passing game. It's going to come at us now. A fake by Phipps. He's back. They're after him. He fumbles the football, but they recover. He was hit by Craig Hanneman. He fumbled the football, and DeMarco recovered for him. Wowie! What a rush they had on Phipps. He lost the football at the 11-yard line, and DeMarco recovered it.
But I don't think Craig Hanneman is hurting the Steelers any in there. He just tore through there. Nobody took him, of course. There wasn't a hand laid on him, and he hit Phipps amidship. And the Steelers very nearly recovered that ball, but DeMarco, as Jack said, did fall on it.
J.D. Fogarty points out that's the 3rd time today that he has been sacked. Now they line up with Pitts wide right. Booker is wide in the slot. And Pitts back and looking, running forward. He's caught again. He goes down at the 8-yard line. Joe Green got him. Tried to run forward out of the pocket. And he was caught again, this time at the 8-yard line. Wow. And Pitts is upset. He wants to fight someone. And the ball is spotted at the 8-yard line, where it is going to be 3rd down now and 24 yards to go. In the excitement, I failed to mention, Lou Freck is here as usual, covering the Pittsburgh Steelers, and J.D. Fogarty is covering the Cleveland Browns. And Myron Cope is with us, Tom Bender is with us, all wearing Franco's American Army helmets for the warfare. Davis out, Edwards in, 5th back for the Steelers, 3rd down, long yardage. Phipps goes back in the end zone. He fires the bomb downfield, and it's overthrown. Intended for Pitts. He threw it 50 yards, and Pitts could not get there. Running with Johnny Rouser. A long incompletion. And listen to this crowd. Listen to them. $50,350. Going wild as the Steelers lead the Browns 24-0. Cockroft standing in his end zone. Edwards upfield. Downfield, and it's overthrown. Intended for Pitts. He threw it 50 yards, and Pitts could not get there. Running with Johnny Rouser. A long incompletion. And listen to this crowd. Listen to them. $50,350. Going wild as the Steelers lead the Browns 24-0. Cockroft standing in his end zone. Edwards upfield. We had an identical punting situation in Cleveland like this. Cockroft kicked it, and he booms it beautifully. Edwards wants the fair catch, brings it in at his own 48-yard line, and the Steelers have it back in great field position.
Yes, indeed, a punt of 44 yards, but the Steelers are just shy of midfield, and they could be in. They could have another insurance touchdown in the works. With timeout on the field, the score is the Steelers 24, the Browns nothing.
Jerry Bradshaw has completed 6 of 11 passes, 143 yards. He brings his ball club up to the line of scrimmage. Duke was out. Pearson is in as a running back. Pearson along with Harris. A fake and a handoff to Harris comes over the left side and drives down to the 45-yard line. A 6-yard gain with Charlie Hall making the stop along with Bob Briggs. Franco Harris, 65 yards, and I imagine they'll be calling on Franco quite a bit now.
Yes, and I think this crowd will be following the scoreboard as they post Franco's yardage throughout this fourth quarter. It's going to be fascinating.
2nd down, 4 yards to go. He picked up 6 on that one. Bradshaw calling the signals, looking at a 5-man defensive front for the Cleveland Browns. Drops back to throw. runs out of the pocket, runs forward over the 45, the 40, and down he goes at the Cleveland 38-yard line. Charlie Hall caught him, but Terry Bradshaw picks up the first down, bringing the ball forward. And they will spot it with its nose on the Cleveland 37-yard line for a first down.
Throwing today, Bradshaw is 6 for 11 for 143 yards, so he hasn't thrown the ball very much, as you can see, but he sure picked up some yardage. The big one being that 78-yard touchdown toss to McNaken.
Pittsburgh 23 yards in from the near side of the field at the Cleveland 37. The Steelers leading 24-0. Bradshaw sets his club. Here is Bradshaw giving the ball to Harris. Harris runs into trouble and dives forward and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Bob Briggs was there. He twisted away from him and went down. And they are marking the ball back to the 37-yard line. So there is no loss on the play. Second down and 10 yards to go. The clock reads 11:08, and it's turning. Shanklin lines up as a flanker to the right. Frank Lewis splits in the near direction, and they're in a 4-3 defense. Back goes Bradshaw deep. Bradshaw cocks his arm, fires to the far side. A diving try by Shanklin, unsuccessful at the Cleveland 22. Well covered by Clarence Scott as he went down and over to the sideline. And Shanklin could not hold on to the football. And it will be 3rd and 10.
Pretty good try, though, by Shanklin. I'll tell you, Scott had him well covered, and he almost pulled off the pass catch. Bradshaw got excellent protection that time, but Shanklin just couldn't get open.
So the Steelers break their huddle. Send Shanklin wide to the right. They'll put Frank Lewis in a wide slot and split McNaken to the left, about 8 yards. And Bradshaw goes very deep, all the way back to the 50. Fires downfield. There's Shanklin running. Can't quite get it. Got one hand on the football in the end zone. Shanklin went down and over to the post. He had beat Clarence Scott, but the pass trickled off one hand as he reached for it. A great effort, and the offensive unit gets a round of applause. Girella's on, and he will try from 44 yards out. This is his 32nd try of the year. He has converted 22 field goals, kicked one earlier today from 36 yards out. This is a 44-yard try with Bobby Walden, the holder. All right, Walden is waiting for the football. It's down, and Girella kicks it. He has the distance. It's good. Girella from 44 yards out. Hits again for the Steelers. Pittsburgh moves out into a 27-0 lead, and Steelers football continues after this brief timeout. Roy Girella's point total is up to 101 points. And that drive started on the Pittsburgh 49, bogged down at the Cleveland 37, and Girella kicked it from 44 yards out with 10:39 to go. Girella kicking off. Brown and Lafier are deep. He kicks the air out of the football. Fielded by Billy Lafier, 2 yards out of the end zone. Almost kicked it into the band.
You know, you can't say enough for Girella. A lot of people think that he's one of those guys who played a lot of soccer up in Canada, but he only played soccer as a grammar school kid. And then when he was an adult, he decided that there was money in this field goal kicking, and he taught himself how to employ the soccer style practically from scratch. And only played grade school soccer.
All right, the Browns are out of the huddle. 1st and 10 at their own 20 with the Steelers leading 27-0. They put Kelly in the slot on the right side, and back goes Phipps looking. Screen pass try, complete, out to the left to Ken Brown, who's in the ball game. Carries it over the 20, goes to the sideline and out of bounds at the 25. Then McGee and Henry Davis cornered him and knocked him out of bounds. Screen pass play to the left side. One of the Browns is shaken up. Ken Brown entered the ball game for this series, replacing Bo Scott. Bob DeMarco, who has done a bang-up job for them at center, is the injured player. DeMarco has been much traveled in recent seasons. He will be replaced by Fred Hoagland, 7-year veteran from Pitt.
Yes, that DeMarco's an old man. The Browns picked him up from Miami this year, and he was out of shape, so they just took their time with him, let him work himself into shape, and then several games into the season started using him, and by golly, he turned out to be a valuable addition to their team. Right now, he's stretched out on his back, and they're giving him attention. Probably has just had the wind knocked out of him. The Steelers, of course, leading here 27-0 with 10 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock. And we said before the ball game that we felt the defense was the key to this game, the Steeler defense, and the reason being that we thought the Steeler offense would get its points. You know they're going to score some points because they've got that explosive threat. And the defense has come through by pitching a shutout thus far, and the game has gone more or less, well, not as expected, because nobody expected the Steelers to be this far out front, but the defense is the key, has come through.
I can't tell whether these are Cleveland fans chanting or Pittsburgh fans, but from the far side, a huge, strong chanting, "We want Nelson." That would hardly interest the Pittsburgh fans.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think it interests Bill Nelson, because on his knees, he's not looking to go into a 27-0 ball game. He's had him carved up a few times, but he's something. He's all right. We love him here. DeMarco's still down on the field there. He's sitting up now. So perhaps he was more seriously injured, though, than we figured. Is that Nick Scorch out on the field? I believe it is. Well, they've got DeMarco on his feet now and helping him off the field. He's walking off pretty much under his own power, and we're ready to go again. Jack?
He took a pretty good lick, Myron.
Yes, he did.
And the big guy, a 12-year veteran, is out of the ball game. And Fred Hoagland is on as the Cleveland Browns center. They shift Kelly into a close slot on the left side. The Steelers, I believe, were offside. And Phipps comes through the middle, keeps the ball up over the 30 and out to the 34-yard line. Let's see what the ruling will be. Mike Wagner made the stop on Mike Phipps. Flag went down, I think, against Cleveland. Nope. So they ruled that the whistle blew when the Steelers jumped offside and made contact. 5-yard penalty. Moves the ball out to the 30-yard line and gives Cleveland its 11th first down of the afternoon. Kelly today has carried 10 times, 39 yards, and he's at the top of the eye. The inside runner is Ken Brown, and the quarterback is Mike Phipps. Phipps throwing to the far sideline, completes it to the 38-yard line to Fair Hooker, who is chased out of bounds by Mel Blunt. And Blunt in the Cleveland bench area over there is getting little agitation from the Browns, and he doesn't like it. One of the officials telling Mel to come back out on the field.
Well, you know, Blunt knocked him out of bounds in a perfectly legitimate fashion, but the Browns, no doubt, are, they're kind of frustrated right now, trailing by 27 points, and they gave him a lot of lip as he left the Cleveland bench area.
Second down, 3 yards to go. Cleveland at its own 38-yard line. Mike Phipps lines them up in the I formation, shifting them. The running backs are wide. Phipps again using the long count. Phipps handing off to Kelly, running to the left. He's hit, breaks the tackle, and is hit again as he crosses the line of scrimmage and caught by Dwight White. Had a good rush on him, and as a matter of fact, as Craig Hanneman hit him, he was blocked at the same time and almost took Kelly down back at the 32-yard line, but he kept his footing and came up to the 38-yard line. It's going to be third and about 2.5, so the play didn't amount to much.
Andy Russell looking awfully good on that play, coming up underneath 2 blockers and almost stopping the play for a lot.
New Orleans continuing to lead the Jets 10-9 in the third quarter. They shift Kelly into the slot on the left side. Flag on the play. Phipps gets it off on the near side, and he overthrows. Right in front of the Steeler bench, his target was Frank Pitts. Pitts was clobbered pretty well by Jack Tam. Flag went down before the pass, and we'll see what the ruling is going to be.
Then McGee barreled into Phipps there, and then Ham caught Phipps in midair, and Phipps didn't like that, but what's he beefing about?
It's an illegal motion penalty against Cleveland. And Andy Russell is discussing the situation with Tommy Bell. And they're putting the football down at the 38-yard line. It's declined by Pittsburgh, so the pass stands as an incomplete one. Phipps has hit only 9 of 20 this afternoon. Bradshaw is 6 of 13. And the ovation for the defensive unit as Glenn Edwards goes deep. Don Cockcroft is in punt formation, stationed at his own 23. 9 minutes and 12 seconds to play with Pittsburgh leading 27-0. Snap to Cockcroft, and he gets it away. Wobbly end-over-end kick, hard to handle at the 30, bouncing high to the 25. Coming down and rolling around the 23, back to the 24 with Browns over it. It is down at the Pittsburgh 24. So the Steelers will take over at their own 24-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. Remember, next Sunday afternoon, we'll be at the Astrodome in Houston. That will be a later starting time than anticipated. The game has been moved to 4 o'clock Pittsburgh time. So we'd like to have you listening. We'll be on the air at 3:40. Myron Cope, Tom Bender, and I will bring you complete coverage from start to finish. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Oilers. Fuqua today, 12 carries, 31 yards. Franco, 15 carries, 65 yards. Terry Bradshaw, 13 passes, 6 completed, 143 yards. And now the Steelers will operate from their own 24-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. Leading the Browns 27-0 with 9 minutes to play in the ballgame. In the third quarter now, Cincinnati 13, the New York Giants 3. Running backs for Pittsburgh will be Franco Harris and Preston Pearson. Larry Brown is on to replace John McMakin at tight end. They apparently will rest Frenchie for the rest of the afternoon if they can. John Garlington replaces Billy Andrews as right side linebacker for the Browns. Here is the handoff to Harris, comes over the left side of the 30, almost got away, but they caught him and toppled him just short of the 35-yard line. Bruce Van Dyke blocking, and Harris got through. Jim Houston and Clarence Scott just barely caught him. And Franco picks up almost 10 yards on that carry.
So he's got about 75 yards now, and he's got a very realistic shot at that 100-yard game with 8 minutes and 46 seconds remaining.
First down, 10-yard carry for Franco Harris. 14th first down of the afternoon for the Steelers. Clock stopped at 8:46 to go. And the Browns are waiting at the 34.5-yard line. They line up, running backs Pearson and Harris. Shanklin to the right. Lewis to the left. And Bradshaw quarterbacking. Bradshaw to Franco. Franco through the middle. Comes out over the 40 and onto the 42-yard line. He'll get 7 yards on that carry with Charlie Hall credited with the tackle. A 7-yard pickup for Franco. And it's second down and 3 yards to go. In fact, he'll get 8 out of that. Second down and 2.
So it should be about 83 yards now, and even though the game's a runaway, we've got something to hang some suspense on.
Second down and 2 yards to go. Harris, 84 yards on the afternoon in 17 carries. Hand off to Franco, piling through the middle, carrying men with him, over the 45, and on to the 49-yard line. Walter Johnson and Tom Darden on the tackle. And he appears to have got 6 yards out of that one. And a first down. Franco should be in there with 90 yards right now.
Did you say 90?
90.
90, yeah. I That's how I figure, and I'll tell you the crowd's in and up for it. They're going first. They
The big
want
sign
Franco
out
to
there.
hit that 100.
Big sign says, "Let's go, Franco." And all around this stadium, you see the Italian flag, green, white, and red. Slot right formation for the Steelers on 1st and 10. And Bradshaw ready to throw. He throws it short, completes the pass to Harris, and he comes over the 45 and down to the Cleveland 42-yard line. Harris just drifting out of the backfield. Bradshaw could spot nobody deep, hit Franco, and Charlie Hall caught him inside the 45. Franco lost a shoe on the play. And Franco is coming off the field. Standing ovation. Steve Davis comes on. And I think they're just bringing him out to let him get his equipment adjusted. He picked up 8 yards on the pass play.
Well, I don't know. I would have been tempted to call a timeout there just to keep Franco in the game.
2nd down, 2 yards to go. Harris with 90 yards for the afternoon. Here's the handoff to Steve Davis. He cross-bucks through the middle. He's down over the 40 to the 39-yard line. Jim Houston, the middle linebacker, makes the tackle. Here comes Franco back. Listen to this crowd. Harris back out again. 18 carries, 90 yards, averaging 5 yards per carry. 27-0 in favor of the Steelers. And Franco Harris going for another 100-yard afternoon to match a record set by Jimmy Brown.
And that's no incidental record. That's probably one of his choicer records.
Bradshaw stops to say something to Press Pearson for stepping under center. And the Browns are stacking up that defense in the middle. And a bootleg by Bradshaw. Now he'll run with the football. He's to the 40, the 35. And they have him, and they're hitting him from all sides, and they blow it dead at the 35-yard line. One of the Browns had him with the leg. That was Jim Houston. And the others were taking shots at him, and he was dodging them. And a 4-yard gain for Bradshaw.
Would you say Charlie Hall wanted to take his head off? Well, I'll tell you, that's what Hall wanted to do, but Bradshaw ducked that with just in the nick of time.
New Orleans still leading the Jets 10-9 in the 3rd quarter. Minnesota Vikings leading the Bears 13-0. All right, here they come on 2nd down 6. Bradshaw goes back. Fires to Harris at the 32-yard line. He's trying to break loose, and he goes down. And taking a swat at him was Charlie Hall as he knocked him to the turf. They will give Harris the 31-yard line, where he caught the ball and was hit. Nope. They're rolling it back at the 33-yard line. So it is 3rd down and 4 yards to go. John McMakin comes in, replacing Larry Brown. Pittsburgh's 9th 3rd down play of the afternoon. We have converted 3 of them. Ball at the Cleveland 33-yard line. Clock down to 3 minutes and 55 seconds. And Pittsburgh maintaining ball control. 3rd down, 4 yards to go. Inside handoff to Harris, coming off the left side of the 30. Hits a man at the 26-yard line and reaches the 25. So it started at the 33. And they're spotting the ball at the 26-yard line. That will be either 7 or 8 yards. I can't tell which. Tom Darden made the tackle. Franco is up to either 97 or 98 yards. And the Steelers have the 1st down. Number 16 on the afternoon. Al Young replaces Ron Shanklin. So he needs only 2 or 3 more yards to reach the 100-yard plateau. 98 yards he has. And the crowd standing. Handoff to Franco. He drives through. He has it. Submarines through the middle of the line. Takes it to the Cleveland 22-yard line. He's picked up 3 yards on the play. Almost 4 yards. He should be to 102 yards. 50,000 people standing and applauding. And here comes Steve Davis on the field. Listen to the ovation for Franco Harris. Franco Harris has gained 100 yards in 6 consecutive games. It ties the NFL record held by Jim Brown. 2:22 to go in the ball game. Bradshaw bootlegs, rolls right, looks, throws, complete to McMakin at the 14-yard line. He's tumbled to the ground by Charlie Hall. The tight end, John McMakin, pulled it in. The pass is complete down to the 14-yard line, the 17th first down. Bradshaw with 9 out of 16 completed. Let's take 10 seconds for station identification on the Steelers Football Network.
Hey, rediscover the lost art of conversation with me, Lynn Hines, 10 to midnight, Monday through Friday, right here on WTAE, WTAE FM, Pittsburgh.
Back at Three Rivers Stadium with timeout on the field for the 2-minute warning. We have timeout and the score. Pittsburgh 27, the Browns nothing. All right, the Steelers are ready to go at the Cleveland 13-yard line, where it is first down 10. Bradshaw brings his club out of the huddle. Steve Davis is in place of Franco Harris. Running with Preston Pearson. Hand off to Press. Running to the left. Cuts back. Over the 10. And down inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Diving in. Tackled by Charlie Hall and Tom Darden. Preston Pearson. We have a flag down on the play. Lots of excitement down in the crowd. Tension has been building throughout the afternoon. Clipping call against the Steelers. And the officials are conferring. So it's going to be a 15-yard penalty, and they're going to mark it off from the 10-yard line out to the 25. If this score holds up, it will be the first time the Steelers have shut out the Browns. If it holds up. Be more positive to say the Steelers have never shut out the Browns. Al Young, wide right. Frank Lewis, split left. First down, long yardage. Bradshaw drops back deep, and he fires downfield. Leaping pass in the end zone. Frank Lewis takes it for a touchdown. We have a flag down. Penalty flag. Walt Sumner was beat by Frank Lewis. Going to be a holding call on the Steelers. Bob Briggs driving in there after Bradshaw would have appeared to have injured his right shoulder or right arm. That's going to bring on Rich Jackson. The ball is back to the 40 on another 15-yard penalty. It is now first down and 37 yards to go. Larry Brown replaces John McMakin. A minute 46 playing the ball game. And the Steelers come out of the huddle, leading 27-0. Bradshaw sets his club at the Cleveland 40. Bradshaw takes. Draw handoff. And nowhere to go. And we get a flag on the play once again. And a consultation. Steve Davis, the ball carrier, was shaken up. Got another penalty pending against the Steelers, and apparently it will be declined. And the ball will be spotted at the Cleveland 42.5-yard line. And Davis is limping off the field. Franco Harris runs out to help him. Rocky Blyer comes on. Here comes... Who else are we going to get? Shanklin is back in. They're switching people so quickly you can't keep up with them. We have a timeout. Bradshaw coming off to talk with Chuck Knoll. The ball is at the Cleveland 42.5-yard line. It is second down and about 39 yards to go. Cincinnati in the fourth quarter leading the Giants 13-3. Atlanta in the fourth period leading Houston 20-10. Miami 30, New England 7 in the fourth quarter. The Jets now leading New Orleans 17-9. Washington leading Philadelphia 16-7 in the third quarter. Minnesota in the second period leading Chicago 13-3. Green Bay leading Detroit 23-0 at the half. All right, slot right formation on second down, long yardage. Bradshaw goes back to pass. Now he's chased out of the pocket, runs right. Looks, throws downfield, and it comes in low. His target was Al Young, but Young was going to be well covered by Jim Houston, who had position on him. So I think Terry very wisely threw that one downfield, threw it in low. And now the penalty marker's down. Illegal procedure declined. It's almost like 4 successive penalties against the Steelers. 2 of them accepted and 2 declined. Third down. Third down and 39 yards to go. Scoreboard says 3rd and 29. I think it's 10 yards off. We have to go all the way to the 3 for a first down. Man in the slot on the right side is Al Young. Minute 33 to play. And now something happens. The Browns hop offside. Now let's see what the ruling will be. Tommy Bell steps in over the football, and he's going to penalize the Steelers 5 more yards. This takes it back almost to the Cleveland 48-yard line. We've been breezing along with only 20 yards in penalties, and now we're up to 60 all of a sudden. Browns have had 1 5-yard penalty. With a minute 33. Third down. And 44 yards to go. Young is in the slot on the right side. Bradshaw takes. Go handoff to Blyer. Blyer comes through the middle. Blyer running hard, comes out, almost breaks away. Caught as he approaches the 30 and brought down at the 30-yard line by Ben Davis. Beautiful run by Rocky Blyer. If he gets by Davis, he's gone. And Roy Girella's on. He'll go for his 3rd field goal of the afternoon. This will be his 34th try of the season. He's made 23. Hit one earlier at 36, hit one at 44. This will be a 37-yard try. Bob Walden is the holder. Ball is down. Girella kicks. It's long enough. It's good. Girella from 37 yards out hits the field goal. Here in the 4th quarter. And the Steelers move out to a 30-0 lead over the Cleveland Browns. And what an afternoon this has been. Pittsburgh scored 34 points in Oakland, 33 on New England, 38 on Cincinnati, or rather on Buffalo, and 40 on Cincinnati. But in the last 4 games, against Kansas City, Cleveland, and Minnesota, and again Cleveland, this is the highest point total for the Steelers, who have lost 3 games on the season. To Cincinnati by 5 points, to Dallas by 4 points, and to Cleveland by 2. Our 3 losses by a total of 11 points. Ken Brown and Billy LaFleur are deep. And here comes Girella. Kicks a low spinning kick, hard to handle. LaFleur picks it up at the 2. He's to the 10, the 15, the 20, cuts back. He's running hard, goes to the 30, and comes down at the 31-yard line. Billy LaFleur with a 29-yard return, and Brian Stenger made the stop. And Cleveland has the ball in play at its own 31-yard line. Clock turning, 44 seconds to go in the game. Pittsburgh leading 30-0. Steelers within a half minute of their first shutout of the season, their first ever over the Cleveland Browns. Pitts, hands off, and the runner running to the left. Billy LaFleur is caught. Now we have a fight. Full-fledged fight breaking out on the field. Both ball clubs getting into it. LaFleur was caught, tried to get away. I think LaFleur possibly was going to pass. Six Anderson brought him down finally. And they had him to the jersey as he ran to the left. And they spot the ball at the 30-yard line. He lost about a half yard. 16 seconds on the clock. It stopped. And they get the fisticuffs broken up. Believe me, the Browns are an unhappy group. And they go back tonight to one of America's beautiful cities, along with Buffalo and Philadelphia. Time running out in the ball game. 6, 5. The Browns don't want to run another play. They don't need it. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. It's all over at Three Rivers in the big game in the NFL today. The final score. It's all over at the end of the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh 30, the Cleveland Browns nothing.